All right, everybody, and welcome back to our final episode of the FrameCAST for this season. In this episode, I want you, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome Kevin Jeong. He is the creator behind Squirrel Punk. Thank you for coming on board with this episode, Kevin. We're glad to have you on board for our final episode wrapping up the season.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm Kevin Jeong, 22, and VMA major at Emerson.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool already. So let's get started. So Kevin, tell me a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to come to Emerson.
Oh yeah. From the beginning, I was born in California, but when I was a kid, I went back to Korea because there's my parents' hometown,
Mm-hmm.
and I grew up there, and I went to college there, and I came back here in 2021 December. So it's like a few years ago to go to American college, and I transferred here from the Korean college.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah,
Thanks.
I can kind of relate to that too. Yeah, I was born in Texas and I spent my childhood growing up in India. I went to an international school, so I kind of had a similar life to the U.S. almost, but I still always had summers in New York. And yeah, I went to another college before transferring. So
I see.
I'm curious about your perspective on the cultural shock, like when like what was the first biggest thing that shocked you about coming over from the
It's kind of stupid, but in Korea we learn at school like American, like rice is Korean food and hamburger is American food. It's
Yeah.
really dumb, but it was really kind of shock to me that American people eat literally everything because it's the mixture of the culture.
Yeah, I mean, people are definitely curious about food. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
We like to have a massive appetite. So I'm curious. For the uninitiated, what is Squirrel Punk about?
The Squirrel Punk is about the two boys who trying to figure out the conspiracy theory that the world and the humans are replaced by robots is true or not by observing squirrels.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting idea. What inspired you to come up with that?
Um, there's two most inspirations. First one is absolutely squirrel. Like I'd say animals. When I was younger, I thought animals moving like robots because human moves really smoothly, but like pigeons or like lizards, they move and stop, move and stop. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I was watching a documentary about saltwater crocodile. Like it's crazy how these animals can stay still
I know.
so perfectly without even blinking for hours. It is really like a robot in a way that, we humans, we constantly have to fidget and move and
Yeah.
articulate and are constantly anxious about movement. So yeah, what was it about squirrels in particular?
Because I had so many pets when I was younger,
Hmm.
and I also had squirrel. But
A squirrel pet, really?
yeah,
Oh wow.
I had squirrel. But um, the reason I got inspiration from the squirrel was the inspiration came from when I was in USA like a few years ago. I was walking this street and there was a squirrel, and I was like, I the the thought came in my mind again because the thought that animals move like robots was when I was younger, and I grew up and I started to write, and I saw that again. So yeah, that's because I chose the squirrel.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Thanks.
So I'm curious if you could talk about the two main characters in this world. Who are they, and what are their main motives? Why are they so interested in uncovering this conspiracy theory?
Um, there's Daniel and Steven. Daniel is protagonist, but I'd say Steven first. Steven is really enthusiastic to talk about the conspiracy theory and like interesting stories. So he always tells Daniel about that kind of stuff. But Daniel is doesn't really believe that something, while Steven believes that. But the point of this film is for the Daniel, the protagonist, that the audience can uh, immerse to him. He through the film he changes to believe the conspiracy theory,
Hmm.
even though he wasn't
He's
really.
kind of at first skeptical about it, and
Yeah.
his other friend is very enthusiastic, like, "Yeah, dude, this is real." And his other friend's like, "Ah, no, this isn't real at
Yeah,
all."
exactly.
And so that changes over time.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be funny to watch. What kind of genres were you aiming with this film? Is it to be more serious, or are you aiming for a more comedic tone?
I wanted to get the balance between like the comic and the serious, the suspension. Um, I'd say definitely it's the sci-fi because one of the goals for making this film was like making sci-fi film as a student film because it's pretty hard because you can only use only limited the SF VFX,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to make a story of sci-fi. So that was kind of a really good challenge to me, and I would say it's thriller and sci-fi.
Hmm. That's a pretty cool
Thank you.
mixture. Yeah, a sci-fi thriller. I'm curious when you talk about how you as a student film you want to tackle very ambitious subject matter. From what it sounds like, it's very absurdist, kind of surrealist in a way.
Yeah.
How did you make use of your limited budget in creative ways?
Um, yeah, I had limited budget, but I didn't want it to, um, like,
Look cheap. You wanted it to feel
yeah,
like a
exactly.
movie.
So for the live squirrel, I shoot the real live squirrel.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but for the dad squirrel, there's a dad squirrel in the
Uh-huh.
film. I
The
had to
dad
use
squirrel.
yeah, I had to use VFX because there had to be the electricity that we can see.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious, are there any particular directors that inspired your
Mhm.
decision to make this film? Were you watching any movies from particular directors for inspiration for how you want to handle the tone?
I think it's better to say that, um, of course, I got inspiration from like filmmakers, but to me, not for my films.
Okay.
Yeah, but um, I say Christopher Nolan is my favorite director because I like the way he makes film and I like the stories he make because he always trying to make something new and interesting. And also Quentin Tarantino. 'Cause,
Oh, Quentin's
yeah,
a
I
fair.
love the way he enjoys film
Yeah.
because I can see he's enjoy making film when I see his movies. And lastly, he's not a filmmaker, but these days, my favorite artist and my biggest inspiration is Ted Chiang, the novelist.
Hmm.
His his talent is like unbelievable. I love him how to make the stories and his imagination, and mostly the ability that he can change the form of the idea to the form of the story.
Mm, that's really interesting.
Thank you.
I'm curious about what are some of the major themes that some of the original themes that you hope to uh, tell with this film and that you hope people take away from it.
This is a really good point. Um, the main point was, I think, really good art let the audience can expand their boundaries of perception.
Mm-hmm.
And also in the Squirrel Punk, that was my goal. And the idea was, like I said, animals move like robots,
Mm-hmm.
and the main theme is about free will, including humans, because based on the quantum theory, we don't have free will, it was really interesting to me. And when I see the animals move like robots, then I feel like they don't have free will because to me, they're just eat
There's
when
just
they're hungry and sleep when they're tired.
it's just a constant loop of survival, life
Yeah.
and death, and yeah, it's interesting how we humans have, we think of ourselves as higher beings, way more philosophical, but we also end up creating these
Yeah, right.
cycles for ourselves,
Yeah,
and entrapping ourselves.
yeah,
And
but we believe that we have free will because we have creativity, but I think we can if we expand the idea that squirrel doesn't have free will, then the fact that human has the creativity can be also the part of the
it's part of the equation,
yeah.
definitely. Yeah, I think that it will be. It will definitely be interesting to watch.
Thank
And
you. Thank you so much.
I'm curious if does your film answer that question, or do you hope that the audience that kind of leaves it open ended, that the audience can wonder, huh? You know what? We don't have free will, or some could be like, oh yeah, we actually do have free will. Do you want that sort of difference in discourse, or is it better for everyone to have one solid idea for what the movie should be?
The purpose I make film is not giving the answer, but giving them the chance to think about it. And um, for my film, I'm just delivering to the audience that my opinion and my thoughts, and it's open to them to what to think and how to think.
Mm. I think that that's a very open-ended way of handling things, because oftentimes, when we as creatives, when we try to when we start out with an idea, and when we finish it, it often isn't exactly how we first think of it, right?
Yeah,
And so I think that art, in a lot of ways, like the stuff we make, it's just open to interpretation.
yeah.
And yeah, I think you said it beautifully.
Thank you.
Good art should encourage people to think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm curious if during the process of putting together this whole production, did you have any disagreements with the cast, crew, or were there any conflicts?
Is the disagreement mean that about the film or
No. Just like,
the accidents or like happenings?
yeah, like if there were any issues with how you communicated your message, or if there were any on-set problems, accidents, anything.
There was not much about the disagreement about my topic, but before I make before I go into the pre-production, I asked my friends, like pretty many friends, to read my script and give me a feedback.
Uh-huh.
And I realized that everyone thinks different way, and everyone uh, like understand different way.
Uh-huh.
And I was pretty shocked realizing that. And what I did was just um, let everyone can understand my film. So yeah, I just revise it again and again.
Yeah. And to what point did you have a draft where for you said, I'm happy with this. I'm confident in this script. Was it after that feedback, or was it when you got a chance to sit with it and you got to have your piece with it?
It was both because I wouldn't have let them read my script if I don't satisfy with that. But I don't know. I don't really feel like my script is like totally completed or it's perfect. I think there's still something to change to the Squirrel Punk still, and yeah, but when I think it's when I think I'm satisfied with that is maybe the script can convey my intention like in a successful way. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. Yeah, I'm
Thank you.
curious. Was there ever, uh, yeah, if Squirrel Punk had, say, an unlimited budget, and you
Mm,
had total creative freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you wanted, and you could
mm.
take however long you wanted, what is one thing you would change and one thing you would remove,
Like regardless of the budget.
regardless of the budget? You could do anything.
Mm, anything.
One thing you would change and one thing you would remove.
I want to change the, I want to remove the VFX.
Okay.
Because after I shoot this, um, I didn't like,
You didn't
I
like
didn't have any complaint about like using VFX. And I didn't, frankly speaking, I didn't understand Christopher Nolan that he tried not to use the VFX.
Mm-hmm.
But after finishing it, especially after shooting the real life squirrel
Uh-huh.
and editing it, and I realized that wow, it's really cool. Not only it looks realistic, but also the fact that we made it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's also the part of the biggest meaning of the film. So if I can do whatever I want, I go back to the pre-production and remove the VFX in my plan and make a prop as a dash squirrel and like make it spark.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you'd create an animatronic squirrel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean Disney's getting really creative with that. Yeah, you could just raid the Star Wars puppets
Yeah.
show and create it. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm curious. What was there a scene in Squirrel Punk that you wrote, and when you shot it, that was your. Was there ever a scene in Squirrel Punk that's your personal favorite?
Of course, I'd say the squirrel experiment scene, that the real squirrel appear in the scene.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because it was really unique and not many people do that. And it was really one of the most important challenge to me. So, but it was pretty successful. I just satisfied with that. So I'm really kind of proud of myself, and I want to show it to everyone.
That's great. I'm curious. Is there a plot detail or part of Squirrel Punk's world that the audience might never see on screen, but you know is there?
Yeah, of course I know. Uh, yeah, it's definitely about the conspiracy theory is right or wrong, but my intention was uh, make it make sense if uh, both if it's true or not.
Oh.
Yeah, so I would not say that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the, I don't want to call it answer because it's just my way of writing the script. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the, the audience can interpret the both way, and if I say this as a creator, then it will be the answer. But I don't want them to think there's answer in film. So
Uh-huh.
I
Okay.
rather not say that.
Just keeping it totally
Yeah.
mysterious.
Yeah.
Nice and cool. Okay, got
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. Um. Yeah. Also, do you see this project as something that in your career you might want to revisit? If you could, uh, say, turn this into a longer thing, would you want to turn this into a show, or do you think that it works as a solo movie?
Mm. Um, I wrote pretty many scripts, and I have really many ideas, and I completed almost 20 scripts for now, and I realized that every ideas have each runtime,
Mm-hmm.
the proper runtime. So for the Squirrel Punk, it was firstly the idea of feature film, but uh, I tried to wrote the feature one, but it wasn't really great because it was kind of boring
Uh-huh.
and it was kind of loose. But so I was like, yeah, then let's just write the short one, and it was like perfect at first for
Mhm.
for my for my
Yeah,
based on my intentions. So
I know a lot
yeah,
of
I
the
don't want to change the runtime.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I think a lot of directors like they'll have a short film and it'll blow up, and then they'll try to make it into a longer film. But me personally, I think that the short film format within itself is beautiful for exploring so many other stories.
Yeah.
There's this YouTube channel. Have you heard of Omeletto?
No.
Oh, I should send it to you later after the podcast. They
Oh,
actually
okay.
they make these individual they more or less curate a bunch of short films from a variety of creators across the world, and they're all around like 10 to 20 minutes.
Mhm.
Their longest video I think is like 25 minutes.
Mm.
But yeah, I think that there's such beauty in that minimalist short short runtime. I mean, I have a YouTube channel where I make short films myself, and I think that you know, oftentimes when we try to expand on things in the moment, we lose sight of what is just special right there.
Yeah.
So I think that, and keeping something self-contained within itself can generate that curiosity, like you said, getting people to think way more about this.
Yeah.
Rather than just giving them the answers on a silver plate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm curious, for you as a creative, you've said that you've written a lot of scripts. I imagine you've also read a lot of scripts too.
Yeah.
What for you is a creative red flag when and something that makes you go nope when you're writing something or when you're just looking at a script?
Something typical, because I hate typical stuff, and the reason I make film is to create something new. And also I like the films that like doing something new and suggesting me something new.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I also a really big fan of Ted Chiang, because his stories are like what I've never seen before, and that's the goal for me, to make something new for the audience to never seen before. And so when I don't know, I feel like sometimes I become a chat GPT. So because sometimes I just write that I just watch it, like a Disney movie. I write that line and I was like, oh my god, it's really terrible. It's so typical, and I just delete it.
Yeah, I mean it's I mean that's pretty cool. I mean I'm also wondering what's a creative green flag, something that you see in a script and is something that makes you go, oh, that's something I want to work with. What is it just anything that is unique, or what are some stories that specifically appeal to you?
For my script,
To you as a person?
yeah, I think it's the phase before I write the script, when I have the idea, and I start to create the story from having an idea and having an event to express that. And when I find the right event to express the topic, and I feel like, yeah, I can move on.
Yeah. I'm curious, if Squirrel Punk were a person, how would you describe its personality?
Squirrel Punk's personality?
Yeah, if it were a person and it just came to life.
I never thought that before. Squirrel Punk. Squirrel Punk is like, Squirrel Punk is kind of. I really don't know. I haven't thought of that.
Yeah, it's all right. And I'm curious. Over working, like how long have you been working on this project? I'm just curious.
When I finished the first draft of the Squirrel Punk was January 2024. So it's like 16 months. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And I'm curious if you could. Who would you say are the collaborators, crew, or cast that you believe really helped you in
Mm.
bringing your vision to life?
I couldn't have done it without um, each one of my crews and cast and people helped me because um, I thought art is made by a creator and the creator's role is most important. But um, after experiencing this project, I realized that each one of the person is really important. But if I have to choose like some people, I would definitely say my DP, James,
Yeah.
and my producer, Jaden, and Gaffer first. And because they're key crews. And but there's so many people who helped me even though they're not key crews. Like
Uh-huh.
Evan is my AD and he did a really good job. And Jungwoo is Jungwoo was just key grip, but he was also producer, and he helped me a lot from the pre-production to post-production. And there's Jason, his Korean name is Hyunsu, and he was production designer, and uh, he was just no, not just production designer. He was production designer, but he helped me to unload and uh, unload the equipments and some kind of that. So I
Yeah.
really
Oh
appreciate
yeah,
it
getting that stuff from the
for that.
EDC and
Yeah,
putting it in your room and just carrying that stuff everywhere. Those carts are lifesavers, I have to
yeah.
say. Yeah.
And I had the sound recorder still, but I would definitely uh, appreciate all of the crews and cast for my project. It was really awesome, and I loved all of my people who helped me.
Oh, that's amazing to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, Kevin. What made you choose to come on the podcast to talk
Mm.
about Squirrel Punk?
It's a really good question. Um, there's two reasons. First thing is before I came to Emerson, I thought people like a little bit more about interested in the story, but I realized that most of people just interested in the visual, but rather than the stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have a good chance for to talk about my vision, because also including my crews, most of people just even though they help me for because they're just friend, but I really appreciate. But um, in some part, I wanted to like I wanted them to understand my film and my vision,
Uh huh.
and yeah, I just it was like just little things, but I wanted to hope people understand my vision and help me because of that. And yeah, so it was. I really appreciate the chance for the talk for me to talk about my vision. And second reason was in pre-production, it's really hard to get a location and like get people, and you need to suffer a lot of the rejections. And when I when people say yes, I was like finding oasis in the desert. And when I received your asking for me, I thought like, yeah, I want to be a yes person to that. Yeah, that's the second reason.
Oh, thanks, man. We were getting guests lined up way in advance. People don't know how long it takes for movies to get made, folks. All
Yeah,
right, it takes a
that's true.
while. Yeah, like yeah, like it takes. I mean, I still can't believe that we're like near the end of the semester already. I
I know,
know,
it's so fast.
and yeah, I'm curious, Kevin, if do you have any final thoughts you'd like to say about Squirrel Punk and where people can watch it? I'm curious. Is it going to be on YouTube? Do you plan on screening it anywhere?
Yeah, I'm planning to submit film festivals But after that, I definitely upload it to the YouTube and Vimeo, so yeah, people can watch it. And just lastly, I wanna say appreciate for the chance again.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, absolutely, yeah, of course. Anytime, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And do you know where? Do you want to drop where they can follow the Squirrel Punk?
Oh sure. There's an Instagram, which is Squirrel Punk Film on the bar KMJ because it's initial of my name, Kevin Jeong.
You heard it, folks, straight from the horse's mouth. That's where you can follow the Squirrel Punk. You can learn all about where it's going to be, where it's going to be screened, and if you plan on uploading it on YouTube, you can follow Kevin for that. We really appreciate having you on the show, Kevin,
Thanks
as our
so
final
much.
guest.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, this has been the first season of the FrameCAST. Thank you so much for joining us this semester. It's been an amazing pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. Signing off.